So we will just give them like a little moment more, and then we will start today's topic. But thank you for turning in. First of all, we are really happy that there's so many that wants to listen to what these two smart people, it's not me, what they're gonna say. So that we are very excited to share with you. Meanwhile, people are slowly getting started. I think we can get started if the two other co-hosts are ready with me. Today's topic is how to turn ESG into a competitive advantage. And here we are specifically looking into the BSME reporting for ESG. In this webinar, we're going, of course, to introduce ourselves. You're going to hear who is it we actually, who is it that's speaking here today. Then you will hear a little bit about the company that I work for, E-SG.Cloud, as well as you will hear about the journey that JP Kollund has been on. Then lastly, we will have a Q&A session, which I will get back to in a short moment. But before we get started, I want you to introduce you to our two speakers today. So this is Michaela and Martin. I don't know if you want to start, Michaela, introducing yourself.
Yes. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you to Martin and the whole ESG Cloud team for inviting me here to speak today. My name is Michaela Moraru, and I'm here on the behalf of JP Kollund, where I'm responsible for compliance, marketing, and IT projects. And today I'll be sharing our journey into ESG reporting and share some of the lessons we have learned along the way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michaela. Thank you for taking part in this webinar with us. Also, we have Martin.
Yes, thank you, Emil. My name is Martin. I've been at E-SG.Cloud for a little over a year, working with sustainability and digitalization at the platform, helping customers with the double materiality assessment, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Yes, and I can see that there are some people that are raising their hands. I do not know if it's a comment or a question. If you have any questions or comments, I am just about to show it here. So once again, my name is Emil. I'm the facilitator of today. And if you have anything that you would like to ask us, please feel free to use the Q&A, which you can find in the top column here, where you simply press, and then you can start a discussion. So with this said, let's dig into it. So first of all, a small introduction into E-SG.Cloud. Please give it away, Martin.
Thank you. Yeah, a brief dive. E-SG.Cloud was established in 2022. We are now 7 employees, an IT company focusing on IT solutions for ESG reporting. We're based on a sister company with more than 25 years of experience, also within IT. The goal is to have an all-inclusive, collaborative, and user-friendly software as a service platform to help companies be compliant with ESG reporting and different directives. So we want to minimize frictions and the resources used so companies can be more effective and gain the benefits that is within ESG reporting. Thank you. Whoopsie. So E-SG.Cloud, like the 4 overall, is easy to use, very intuitive. You can share with different stakeholders within your value chain. It's a good place to collect all the data, so you don't have different emails and different Excel files, but you have everything in one place. And it's always up to date within the EU Green Deal directives, and there's a high focus on the data security with the upcoming ISO standardizations. Thank you. At the platform, users normally they create an account. You come in as an administrator. And here you have the opportunity to create different users. So what we normally see is that people, they create users, different reporters, if they have different facilities to import the data, but also investors or accountants, if you have to have it in your yearly report, it has to be approved according to CSRD, but also different stakeholders, both up and downstream, may be interested in your reporting. Thank you. Under resources, here you have different documents from EU and EFRAG, so you have everything in one place. You also have different learning documents in order to fulfill your double materiality assessment. Furthermore, you have the possibility to upload your own documents. If we take some of the tools, more is coming, but right now we have 3 tools. We have the end result of the double materiality assessment, so you're able to show what is material for your company. We also have the organizational chart with the CEO, CFA, HR, etc. And we have the process map as a value chain map, so you can visualize your value chain cradle to cradle. Thank you. If we take the double materiality assessment, we have the tropical standards from EU at the left sides, and then at the right side we have the matrix to visualize it based on impact materiality and financial materiality, what is material for your company. Thank you. Under standard, we have the 21 ESG key figures from the Danish Business Authority. We have, of course, the CSRD with the ESRS standards. We have the voluntary, which is of scope 2A for small and medium-sized enterprises. And the listed small and medium-sized enterprises standard is coming up, is around 48% of the CSRD in requirements. If you take the VSME here, you start the report, you come in, you have 3 different modules that gives 4 different possibilities of reporting. So the basic, that's mandatory, and then you can do a double materiality assessment. And based on that, you can choose to report on policies, action, and targets in respect to what is material for a company, or the BP, the business partners module. The modules in the system is built at what is mandatory and what is voluntary and what is mandatory if relevant according to the standard. Thank you. So here we have created our report. Thank you. When we have created our report, it comes in as different tasks. And these tasks, when you fulfill these, you normally put them out to different employees in the organization. So if you take the next slide, if I am a reporter in the organization, I will see what tasks are allocated to me. So for example, here we have the greenhouse gas emissions. So if we take a deeper dive into that, we can see that according to the VSME standard, we have to report it as a table, and it has to be in scope 1 and scope 2. So I input the data, save the answer, and then I mark it as complete. Thank you. When all the disclosure requirements are fulfilled, I'm able to export it. Right now, you can export as an Excel file or as a zip file. A PDF is coming up, and as soon as the XBRL is approved from ESMA, then we will implement the XBRL as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin. So now that was a very quick introduction to the ESG world. Now let's have a look into what is the journey that have happened for JP Kollund. So please take it away, Michaela.
Thank you very much, Emil. To set the base for the report, I'll start by sharing a bit about who we are and what we do here at JP Kollund. Then walk you through why we chose to do an ESG report, all the lessons we have learned, the benefits we are already seeing, but also some of the bumps we hit along the way. So let me introduce you to JP Kollund. We are a German-Danish consultancy company. We are founded in 2010. We have our headquarters in Flensburg, an office in Copenhagen, and we will have an upcoming office soon in Hamburg. We are a team of 12. 9 people are in Germany and 3 in Denmark. And together, our team has gathered over 30 years of experience helping companies to improve their logistics efficiency. Our journey actually began with pallet trading and third-party logistics services. But over time, however, we expanded, and today our focus lies in logistic consultancy. So what does that really mean, right, in practice? Well, overall, we are aiming to make logistics operation as efficient and effective as possible. And we approach this from all angles. starting with logistic setup analysis, where we look closely at our client current logistic setup to spot inefficiency and make things run smoother. We also handle tender management, and to make sure that the process is not only cost effective, but also matches the client's long-term needs. Because when we match the right client with the right suppliers, then we create a value that goes beyond just cost savings. Lean management, it's another core part of what we do here at GP Kollund, and we are using lean practices to cut out waste, improve efficiency, and overall boost productivity. Next, it's route optimization. Here we basically refine transportation routes and logistics centers to make deliveries faster, reduce fuel cost, and lower our environmental impact. Every route helps optimize also the CO2 emissions, the carbon footprint, because for many of our customers, this is essentials in today's landscape. We also focus on packaging optimization, which is an overlooked area, I would say, that has huge potential. It had become very important for many of our customers, and we help them to reduce the packaging cost and waste, improve their handling, and protect better their products. For many of them, the right packaging is really important. For example, Germany has one of the strictest and most comprehensive packaging regulations in EU, and it's primarily governed by the Packaging Act. In German, it's Verpackungsgesetz. And basically, this legislation focuses on reducing packaging waste, increasing recycling rates, but also ensures that the producer take responsibility along the whole packaging life cycle. And you can imagine that finding the right supplier for our customers, it's really important. And last but not least, it's pallet management. That's an area we know well. We not only trade the pallets, but we also manage them for our clients, because many of our customers outsource the bookkeeping and management of their pallets to us so that they can focus on their core business. And each of all these services helps our clients to keep their logistics moving in a smart way, but also a sustainable way. And because we are trying to be responsible in everything together with our clients, this is also what led us to our ESG journey. So how did we do it? Well, we started in December 2022 and early 2023 to think seriously about ESG reporting. But for a small company like us, the standards and the requirements seemed overwhelming, sometimes even confusing. So we kept it in the back of our heads and we put it on hold so that we can focus on our core business. But then this spring in 2024, Lauge and Martin from E-SG.Cloud introduced us to a new standard, the VSME, along with their platform. We have reviewed it here internally, and then we decided to just give it a try. Now our report is done and it's available on our website. So there is a link. If you would like to see how it turned out, then you can access that now or later, and then you can see how it went. But why did we do it, right? Because first, we were not really required to report until 2027. But even though we were not, we work closely with clients who do. So it made sense for us to start now so that we can maintain those relationships. We also saw it as a chance to grow, to build better relationship with our partners, to attract new customers. And also, although it might sound like a cliche, we do care about the impact our company leaves on the environment. And we want to reduce it. And we want to build better habits. But in order to do that, we needed to have a clear picture of where we stand today as a company. And now that it's done, I can say that we have already seen the benefits. starting this journey, because today our operations are clearer, our routines are better, and we have a foundation to make better choices that aligns with our values. But to be honest, it wasn't easy at first, because the technical term, figure out the right data, where to find the right data, was quite challenging. Luckily, the ESG Cloud platform made it much easier, because it's, as you have seen, it's user-friendly. It helped us stay focused. And it allows us to apply some of the principles that fit of the way we actually do business here at GP Kollund. We could assign tasks, share tasks, keep track. We had a resource page, and in the end, after we finished inserting all of the data, then we had a clear overview of the whole numbers that we have in the company. And with that said, now we have practical but also actionable insights that will help us grow responsibly. And I will show you here a very small fraction of how it really looked in reality. So basically, I was logging into the platform. Then I saw my dashboard, all my to-do list, the tasks. Then I go into the task. If I have the right data, I just insert it in, and then I exported it to the report. So it's pretty straightforward. But my main reason why I would recommend the ESG report, it's actually the real benefits we have seen since we have started that. Because we have received a lot of positive feedback from our existing clients and partner. It also made us more attractive to new customers. It kept our consultants busier than ever. Some of our current clients have brought in really valuable referrals, so they become really good advocates of GP Kollund. And also, I have to say that internally, it also helps us to spot areas where we can improve, which in time, I think it will save us both time and money. And for example, we became more mindful of our waste, and we tried to be more digital, especially in our office in Germany. We don't just print anything anymore. We need to work on, and we are looking for further alternatives where we can work on the same documents in a digital way. Because our goal now is to have offices without printers. And we took this decision not because we just want to be digital, but also we want to be a bit more mindful than we are today about this unnecessary waste we are creating by just printing all the things. And of course, this requires also effort from the management and training in order to change the old habits of all the employees. We also became more aware of the water consumption, especially in our warehouse. And although this is due to our tenants, as landlords, we feel responsible. So now we are looking into ways to reduce that consumption. Also, all this process we have done now, it has given us a head start of preparing for the upcoming regulation, because this is inevitable. This will come anyway. And the sooner we start it, the easier it will be to create routines that will help us for the future reports. But I also want to keep it real and be realistic, because we are a small company and we know that our efforts cannot match the scale of the larger firms and their big spendings on CSR and sustainability efforts. But however, there are millions of SMEs only in Europe, and alone we are just one drop, but together we can make an ocean of impact. So if every single company is making little changes towards the right direction when it makes sense, then in the end of the day, we will see the results. And I also have to say that ESG reporting takes time and energy. It definitely adds some administrative load, but practice makes perfect. The more we do it, the more natural it becomes. So basically, like all the other habits. All in all, my conclusion to it is that this process has made us more aware of where we stand as a company. We definitely feel that we have gained some competitive advantage in the market. And it also opened our eyes to make us understand that even a small company can actually make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michaela. Very interesting hearing about your journey and all the considerations. Now, let's try and dig a little bit deeper into actually how this can become this competitive advantage. So, for this, I have now taken my chance to like kind of highlight some of the things that we have mentioned here earlier, and then let's try and talk a little bit about how can it actually be that these things matter. So, like a competitive growth. Martin, we talk a lot about that this ESG is not only like as Michaela just said, that it's just a lot of hard work, but it actually gives you this competitive growth. Can you please try and elaborate a bit on this?
Yeah, I can give a very practical example regarding the differentiation in the market as a driver. One of our partners was doing the double materiality assessment, and there they looked at like the whole world, and they came up the opportunity that this client was a tankable producer to, in the end of the life cycle, then implement reverse logistic. And it was possible, feasible. So right now they are, when the product has its end of life, they return it, they put it into the production again, and thereby they decrease the carbon emissions, they lower the need for raw material extraction, and it makes them beneficial in the market, not only on cost, but yeah, also on the environment.
Okay, so by doing this reporting, they actually got an understanding even better of how their business work and where they can set in to actually improve the business model.
Yeah, especially the double materiality has this advantage. The process of looking into competitors and the industry in a more structured way. Like all companies are used to doing strategies, but it's very much a CAPS model or SWOT analysis. When you combine it in a more holistic sustainability way, it gives some new opportunities,
So
especially
when
because the demand comes from the cloud.
Yeah, exactly. So this was actually putting it together because I guess a lot of the people sitting here today, they know the business model Canva, they know the SWOT, but this would actually combining it into this holistic approach really makes the difference.
Yeah, and everybody knows that you implement reverse logistic, that is a possibility, but not many have done the feasibility study, whether or not it is cost beneficial.
Okay. Thank you. So I guess this also leads a little bit to the next highlight here, this with the resilience that once you understand it, you also get more resilient, but maybe try and elaborate as well here.
Yeah, this one is a client of ours. They have a very heavy energy production side, and they started implementing different sources of renewable energy. So if and when we will see new fluctuations in energy prices, they will be more resilient. And of course, they have a lower carbon emissions in the scope 2 due to it also.
Okay, that sounds quite good. So this with access to finance, is that something you have also considered, Michaela? I can see now that you have your headquarters and you're thinking about also making one in Hamburg. So I guess that's also a cost maybe in terms of some finance. Is this something that also was influenced when you considered making this ESG report?
Definitely. I think definitely all the companies have to think about it because in today's world, I think all the big banks already are bound to report in the EU taxonomy. And that means that it's easier to obtain loans. And this I can speak from our experience. We have had discussions with the bank at the beginning of this year. And from my understanding now, a loan is calculated also somehow by the emissions. And in order to be the customer of a bank, also you need to provide some sort of data. And if you are doing nothing, it will get more harder, I think, to access this finance. And this is from our point of view as a company, and also investors, future investors, if they think where they should put their money. If I would have to invest my money, then of course I would put it in a company that has a future, because if you don't think about it early enough, it will come a day when you have to do this ESG report and you get completely confused and you cannot manage, and it's just a matter of time that you're not in the market anymore.
Interesting. I also heard this with that they actually have kind of a and B loans depending on if you have it or not. So they can actually provide you a better offer if you actually have something data to provide, right?
Fortunately, I don't know anything about it, but sounds very interesting.
Yeah. Do you have something to elaborate on this, Martin?
I think what Mihila said was really good. We can add the investor's point of view, just as the bank has to be sure to get their money back. An investor wants a return on investment too. So if you ain't resilient in tomorrow's environment, you may be a bad investment. We also have the Danish business houses here in Denmark managing the EU funds. EU, they have that goal of being climate neutral in 50. That's why you have the possibility that's actually also coming up with EU ESG reporting. There's also been a lot about digitalization, so you get support for the transmission, and that of course will make you more competitive if you're able to automate or be more attractive.
Okay. But I mean, it makes sense when you look at it also with the competitiveness and the resilience, right? This is something people want to invest in because it gives the stability. They can get their money back. So about this, you actually mentioned it a little bit, Michaela, this with the talented workforce, that this can actually also be attracting it. Have you seen this? Have you seen this in a GP Kollund? Have you seen an impact?
I can speak here also from a personal experience, but also from a company point of view. And from my personal experience, right now I'm doing an MBA here in Denmark, and I have noticed that young people I study with, and even those who aren't so young, myself included, are genuinely interested in companies' CSR policies, sustainability, ESG strategies, because when a company moves beyond just making profit and shift the focus towards people and the planet, it says a lot about their DNA and internal values of a company. So if I have to step back and look from a company point of view, it also helps you draw in the people that want to be part of something bigger than just a job. And it also motivates them beyond paychecks, because you move together to a common purpose. And it makes you form also the right team that is 100% aligned with what you believe in and what you stand for.
I think it's a very good point. This myself, I just turned 30, and it's like for me, and if I look at my friends, it's also like we're not only discussing that the work, it's also what are we doing there, and does it have this impact? So I completely agree with it, and again, it is a competitive advantage since we live in Denmark. A lot of the salaries here are fairly good. So what can we get additionally? And I think it matters that when we sit and spend at least 8 hours a day on something that we actually believe in, that this is for the greater good. So yes, this with proving it really makes sense. Then you also mentioned it, that you attracted like some new customers, and I guess that's nice. But can you put a few more words on how does this piece of paper actually make a difference that you get a new customer?
Sure, definitely. GP Kollund as a company, it's seeing a big shift when it comes to new customers, because these days the sales negotiations don't start with the price discussions as they used to. Instead, they focus on the sustainability effort, the data you can provide. And here I have a concrete example from one of our business units. When they ask about the location of our warehouse, scope 3 and CO2 emissions before anything else, and we have answers to that. Like our warehouse, it's called warehouse. It's just 22 seconds away from the highway, uses green energy, which has a zero emission factor. they're interested right away. And then the conversation quickly moves beyond finding the lowest price, because honestly, that's not what it matters for them anymore. Customers now are looking for more than just cost savings, because they want a partner who is completely aligned with their values, but also with their future strategies. Otherwise, it doesn't fit in.
And I guess that's also quite lucrative conversation to have instead of discussing price, actually
Definitely, yeah.
discussing value and how this is a great fit. Because yeah, that sounds very nice. In regards to then retaining the ones you have, I guess that goes in hand with it.
Yeah. When I have to think about retaining the customers, I have to say that the proactive approach we had toward the ESG report had a clear impact. Because this year we saw many of our big clients coming to us with questions about CSR practices. Have you considered ESG reporting? Where are you standing? And as soon as they find our answers and where we stand on in terms of a process, and that we already have finished, at that time it was at the beginning. But still, it seems like they prefer working with us because we have taken steps in this direction, even though we didn't have to. And because we are further along in the journey, we also have learned a lot along the way. And for example, in our pallet management department, we are now able to provide clients with the CO2 data on specific transport routes. And this type of information is a game changer for them, especially as they work on their Scope 3 emissions, where they need as much reliable data as possible. So it's not like a bonus for them. This is essential. And this is also what is keeping them coming back to us.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, I just spoke with another company this morning where they were like, we really want to have this data, but our suppliers cannot provide us with this yet. So I guess this is also really lucrative for you that you are upfront, because that means that when they need to provide data to someone else, they can be calm because they can already take the data from you. So in this way, it actually really makes you an interesting partner to keep. And they can see you are a proactive partner, right? That really are ahead in things and how you act and being aware of where's society moving. So yeah, that makes sense. Anything to add with this, Martin?
No, I think Mihaela did a very well job. Thank you.
So then maybe if we look a bit at this with reducing the expenses. So how have you seen this in GP Kollund, Mihaela?
After we saw the numbers from the ESG report, we could see a potential to actually save money in ways and in areas where it actually makes sense. For example, as I mentioned before, we don't use a lot of paper these days anymore. We have switched to digital whenever it's possible. When we can, we take advantage of natural light at our office, though this is not the best season to brag about it. As you can see, I have light because it's dark outside already. But we are trying, when it's sunny, we are trying to switch off the lights. We have also seen some patterns in the water consumption, and we are working to bring that down too. Also, as I said, we are logistic consultancy, so we practice what we preach, because we are big advocates for lean management and route optimization for our clients, reducing all this waste. So we have taken our own medicine ourselves, but of course adapted to our own operation. And I know these steps are not groundbreaking, but they are effective, and they will save us time and money in the long run.
Yeah, and I think exactly this with that. Already now that you can see that there is some reductions is great, right? But as you say, it's a change in culture, it's a change of mindset and the way you run your business, and by this your employees will start to see opportunities for where you can actually improve, and this leads to this reduce, right? So yes, again, and this, it goes all hand in hand with that. You get this overview, you get the understanding, so you can all of a sudden actually start to maneuver yourself around and see this is where we need to take action. Yeah, anything to add up here, Martin?
I would actually focus on the cost Here also regarding the resilience due to geopolitical obstacles, we had one customer who was sourcing from China because China has always been cheapest, but it's hard to get, as Mihila said, valid data. So they look for other sources, and this actually gave a better unit price. So yeah.
Super good. But very interesting hearing about all the impact that it has actually been doing. Now I think it's also about time that we let all the participants here having a chance to maybe ask us a few questions. So once again, I just want to mention that up in the top you have this Q&A, and I can see Henrik has already been active writing a question in, so that's super good. Please follow up. I just want to start actually with one of my own questions. So, Michaela, you have been doing this, and now like you're done with it for this year, and you need to do it for next year. Have you already seen some stuff that you can do to improve the process for next year?
Definitely, because now we have a starting point. So now we know where we stand, and we think there are possibilities in many ways where we can actually change our habits. But as I also said before, I think in order to make the changes, you actually have to change the internal habits of the employees, the mindset, because this is where it starts. No matter how much you can make a lot of strategies in the boardroom, I think, and say, oh, okay, we do this, we do that, but the company is made by the people, so it's them who also need to believe in that. The day they believe in that, it becomes easier because then you also have brainstorming, and maybe you stay there with the data and you calculate the emission factor and CO2 emission, and you don't see the big picture of not other things that can actually also be improved. And then is when the discussions are sparking, and then you can find new opportunities. And as I said, we have a plan to have no more printers, and also to reduce the consumptions as much as we can in the offices and also in the warehouse. And if they will come more along the way, once we are training because we are thinking also about training our employees so that they can have a better understanding of the terms, because sometimes they can be very fluffy and very confusing to everyone. So it's important that everyone is aligned with what everything means. And as soon as we have that aligned, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of place of improvement. And this is a work in progress. It's a marathon. You cannot just do it once and then it's done. You sit and relax. It's just a work in progress. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I will try and read up the question that was here. ESG shows us how the current state is, but there is no law as to make numbers better. Will the company start learning leaning towards science-based targets to set measurable goals? Do you have something to this, Martin?
If there is, yeah, I can try.
Yeah.
Companies, larger companies, and large, small, medium-sized enterprises in Denmark, they will have to, according to CSRD, if they are and they are reporting in the yearly. But smaller companies, no, and the science-based initiative was not part of CSRD. But I think it's like the golden standard now, like almost all larger companies. Nordisk was just approved, but it's kind of expensive. If you think that ISO certification is expensive, science-based targets are even more. And also, as you just mentioned, asked about with the numbers, when we do the life cycle assessments, there is a lot of fluctuations and assumptions, so we don't like go too deep into the middle numbers. So there is some fluctuations between it. Yeah, I think that's the best I can answer.
Okay, a follow-up on this, because he also mentioned here that if there is no rules per se, then won't we just see a lot of greenwashing again?
I believe that the EU green claims should like take the most greenwashing out. The Danish Forbrugerombudsmanden also just updated that guide And the accountancies, I know PwC, Deloitte, they are very very rough when approving the double materiality assessments right now, and I assume they will be the same when they are approving the yearly reports. And also, like, there was one philosopher, he said that you shouldn't be afraid to try and do it, because otherwise we get nowhere and we get smarter all the time. When we are too much into like, is that correct? How are you doing? You're not doing enough. Like, I think we should embrace what we do, and also with the capacity, as Mahila said, like they are a smaller company compared to C25. Should they then do nothing? No. So I think we have to keep that in mind to be pragmatic.
Okay, very good answer. Michaela and GP Kollund, have you set some goals to actually for yourself for the improvements?
We have done this report first year, which means we had no idea about any impact we have there. We assumed maybe that since we are not doing something mindfully because it's written in the ESG report, it might not be that good, but it turned out actually it was quite good. We were really happy about the results. And of course, the main goal is to go down. All the numbers, the emission should go down, the water consumption should go down, the waste kilograms should go down. But again, it's the first year, so we cannot benchmark it with nothing for now. We, of course, can take actions, and we will try to make the numbers go lower next year. But if I have to be honest and say a percentage, this I don't have a number, because again, I cannot benchmark with anything, and I don't know what is the impact of a small company. So in order to have this thoughts, we have to do the report also next year. And I think by the time we will be bound by law to report, we will have a clear overview, and we will have some statistical data showing that, okay, year 2024, year 2023, we did this, we did that, and then we can see the curve. Then we can have already an idea and put realistic goals, because I think when you talk about greenwashing, I think that's the biggest problem today, sometimes, from my point of view, is that companies, they want to look good and they say, next year we reduce our CO2 emissions by 10%. Okay. But that's not happening. And who is controlling that? And it's also impossible because you have no control of what's happening. Best example is look what is happening around the world. Routes change. It's something that is out of your hand. So sometimes, as much as you want to do things, you have to be really realistic and, as Martin said, very pragmatic. And this is what we try now at GP Kollund.
If I may add to it, I also think as a supply chain engineer that there is some asses and to be before we do any optimizations. So we start to get the asses, and then we have, if we focus on everything, we focus on nothing. That's why we choose what is material. We did that with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and we do that with the CSRD doing the materiality assessment. And when we do supply chain optimizations, we also look, okay, what is it? Is it? Oh.
Can you hear us, Martin?
Yeah, I think I dropped out. I'm back, right?
Yes.
Maybe too long about sitting. But we look, what is it? Is it speed? Is it deliverable, reliable delivery time? Is it cost? What is it that we are optimizing for? And I think there's also some change management in it. If you're not used to collecting these data, you have to be able to collect it. So I think it's a great start just to start like you did with the basic, and then you already have some short, like low-hanging fruits. You get these wins, you get top management commitment, and then the ball is rolling.
And again, it's also about this with you have something, right? It's interesting next year because then you can start to compare. So you will already have an even bigger advantage there. And I think that goes beyond saying like that's also really a call for why people could get started now, because they will have this advantage. It's first interesting once we have something we can compare ourselves with to see how we're improving, because right now everyone is like at zero, and we just need to understand where do we stand, and from there we can actually take action.
Exactly.
Yeah. So very interesting. Martin, if companies that are here joining us today, they have never done anything yet, which is the case for most companies, what would be your recommendations for them to get started well off?
I always say it's like when we have to start training, just do it. And then I would see it as a strategic, like what is the return on investment, right? Like everything is but everything is a business case. So what is the return? And then the slides we just went through, I normally have the 10 points. I set it out and I say, okay, what do you want? Like many of our customers, which I support, they are IT companies, and in IT right now is the attractiveness of employees, skilled employees. And therefore, okay, so we have to aim it for that's the return, so we can measure it. Um, I think that's like see it as a business case. Also because we had one customer and they were in the transport industry and they invested heavily in the solar cells at the facility. But if you look at the percentage of emissions in scope 1, 2, and 3 for that company, then their emissions in scope 2 on the facility is so low. So it's like it's not a bad business case, but the return on investment is what, 5, 10 years. I bet we could do something better. So that's normally the way I say it. Like, what is our end point?
Okay. So and to get very concrete, like is it getting started with the VSME, right? It's 10 to 32 measurements points, right? Depending on how ambitious you are from day one. So if you just want to start like super easy and simple with the 10 points, like what would then be the things that you have to like get done very quickly, so you can say, hey, we're actually doing something. Is there something that is
Yeah,
fairly easy
if
to
we
get
have
started with?
a company that I just want something and they want some consultancy, I usually take them in the platform and then I take the easy ones first because then we say, okay, now we are 30% done. Whoa, nice. And then we end up with the more complex one. And those are usually like the practices towards a more sustainable economy, especially if we haven't done anything. But it's also, again, where you can see the return on investment. Because if it's just a compliance exercise, then it's really hard to get some tangible benefits out of it. And I like, what is the value of you saying that last year we had 10 tons of trash, this year we have 8 tons of trash? Yeah, okay, but your revenue also had a dump in 20%, so it's kind of respectable.
Very good point. Very good point. So if there's anyone that has any final questions, then it's about time to ask them. Michaela, what do you think? What will you do as the next steps when you want to proceed from here?
Definitely, this year we have started with the basic module because it was already complicated in terms of finding out the right data. Because I think this is sometimes where things are breaking for many companies. And when it starts getting really tough, you don't know where to get the right data, or you don't know if that's actually the data you need, or is that the emission factor? Is that the real one or is not? So all these things, it takes a lot of times. So we decided to start with the basic module and build a routine that will help us. And next year we would like to report on more, because the ones we have reported this year, it will become much easier. I will not say it will be a walk in the park. Of course, no, because the more the business is growing, the more the data is growing. So, of course, it takes more time and more administration. But the routine of where to find the data, how to put it there, how to calculate, it's already in place. And that's already half of the job done. So that also leaves some space to make thoughts and actually explore more points. Where can we report more and go further deep and look also what is our suppliers, how are they trying to find out what kind of data can we take from them. Is this reliable data or is just something they give us? We already this year took the decision before we started the report to only work with suppliers that have signed and agreed to our code of conduct. And there are many points there that also are related to our ESG report. So we are already starting to sort things out internally so that we make it easier for the future, where we can actually report, as I said, on more points and have a better idea of the whole supply chain, not only in our immediate close.
And a bit in line with this, Onkar, he's asking here, are there specific sustainable technologies or practices that you are planning to adopt to reduce emissions or to improve efficiency? Is it something you looked into?
Technologies.
Yeah.
We are not a company that can use decarbonization, for example, at this point. It's because of our size. But definitely, there are many sustainable practices, to say it that way, that are out there, and some are proven by companies, some are just advices. I have also personal interest in sustainability, so I am trying to keep myself up to date to things that are coming new. And is that a fit for GP Kollund? Is this realistic that we can do it? Because, as I said, we are not a large company, and one of the principles of actually doing CSR, it's you need to make sure you have a healthy base, which means you still focus on your core business, you still make profit, you still exist on the market. Because if you want now to be a complete hero and do everything possible and just make a lot of spendings and technologies, then you will just be out. You have to be realistic, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point, because there is so many technologies out there and they can all solve all our issues, but you need to exactly find the ones that makes the most sense, as Martin also was back to again. Where is it we can actually do the biggest impact with the investment, the resources that we have?
Yeah, and I actually have, if I may interrupt you,
Yeah.
Emil, I actually have a good one there. So let's say that I'm hired as a purchaser for a company, and this company is now in our DNA. We have top-down commitment. We want to be sustainable, and we do our ESG reporting, and then I have to find a new supplier for item in this item list, right? And then I go online. I have to do the academic triangulations. So I search for this, say, paper, and then I find 4 different suppliers, and 3 of them, they have ESG reports. Number 4 don't have ESG reports. So which one will I try and contact to make an agreement? The 3 that has ESG report. So if you don't have it, you don't even know you lose customers. You don't know that you're losing the competitive advantages. I think that's the largest reason to get started now.
Very good point. Nikon is asking here, how does the company integrate its ESG principles into the core business strategy to not only meet regulatory requirements, but actively shape industry standards and refine market expectations, and thereby establishing a sustainable competitive advantage that competitors will struggle to replicate?
I think that question, you should be very welcome to email me that question. It's a bit too much to, yeah.
It's a long question, yes, but I think it's again about this with getting it into the core of your business strategy, right? But I think that's again, as you said, Michaela, in the beginning, this with that, well, it is a decision that are made in the boardroom. Nevertheless, it has to go out there and live. So it's not enough that it stays in the boardroom, right? We need to have an actual plan for how do we get this to all employees, that it is being embraced as the culture there is in our business. And do you have some steps here? I mean, I know you're not a massive company, and I think that's why a lot of SMEs, they have a massive benefit here, because it can be easier to incorporate into a company of that size than if you're 1,500 people.
Exactly. Of course, the ultimate goal, I think, of every company is to have a sustainable competitive advantage, something that no one of the competitors can replicate, no matter what. They're the best. That's the ultimate goal. There is no doubt in that. I think if you go there and ask all the companies, this is what they strive for. Doing it, it's of course not so easy as it sounds, especially when you are a small company, because it depends what kind of activity you have. I can speak from GP Kollund point of view. I think our advantage is that we already have the experience in optimizing and being efficient and reducing waste through our logistic consultancy business unit. We never presented it in that way to our customers, but we do have enrooted in our values that we want to do things better. And cost, it's not always the ultimate reason, because it's also about reducing time, being more efficient, producing better quality. So I think Nikunj was saying here something about shape industry standards.
Yes.
This is also a way to do it, because if you are starting already internally, and what you see it works internally on a low scale, you replicate that into your customers and you advocate for these principles. You know, every single one that you have, you already have an impact. So this can also help shaping the industry. We are not MERS, probably the same. It doesn't have the same impact, of course not. But that doesn't mean it's no impact. If we replicate that into our customers' processes, then for sure things will change, and even competitors, they will feel the need to actually do that and do something about their efforts into ESG reporting. They cannot just sit back and say, "Oh, but this is not for us. This we don't care." They will care, because it will come for them too at some point, right?
And I think with those words, I can only underline this with that it is about getting started. And at E-SG.Cloud, you offer this opportunity that you can try 14 days getting started here, right? And then you see if this is something that people want to do. If people would like to get in contact with Michaela or Martin, the contact information will be here shortly. And then you, of course, can also approach them or approach E-SG.Cloud. And also, if you would like to have these slides, we are more than happy to share them with you all. Otherwise, I just want to say thank you very much for everyone pitching in today and tuning in and listening to the three of us. And it was very, very interesting, Michaela. And thank you very much, Martin, as well for this good presentation. I hope everyone out there has gotten something to think about, and also know what can we actually do. Starting to think about it doesn't need to be that hard. As you said, Martin, it is maybe just about getting started, and all of a sudden you will see all these great benefits actually coming to you, maybe you didn't even think of. So once again, thank you very much, everyone. These are the informations. Feel free. I was allowed by both Michaela and Martin to share them with you. It's a super smart feature where you can just scan the code, and then you get actually all the information right to their phone. So with those words, I will just leave it here for a moment, and then thank you everyone for tuning in today.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you again for the invitation. It was a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you very much.